Is brought to you by Chawla Legal Group Estate Planning. Estate planning is for everyone. Whether you're worth $4,000 or $40 million, estate planning can help protect you, your family, and your assets while you're alive and well. To register for an upcoming workshop today, go to chawlalegal.com/workshops or call 586-273-7157. Again, that's chawlalegal.com/workshops or call 586-273-7157.
What the Rock is cooking.
You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.
Clash of Champions has finished. Champions clashed. Some retained, some did not. We have a new champion for Breaking Down the Ring. Has a new champion, a new Ring Crew champion. NXT had its first debut live event on USA, the first hour of it before it hit the network for the final hour. Do we have new champions? Do we have new number one contenders for Shayna Baszler's women's championship? We will get to all of this and more this week as we
break the ring down. You don't know what hard times are, Daddy. The cream rise to the top. Oh, yeah. Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. You just made the list.
This right here is a family.
Hey, this is professional wrestler and professional podcaster Colt Boom Boom Cabana.
My name is Killer Cross.
This is The Smoke Show, Scarlett Bordeaux.
What's up, guys? The After Machine, Brian Cage.
This is Ryan from Pro Wrestling Tees.
Sadly, you are not listening to The Art of Wrestling, but you made a decent choice because you're listening.
You are now listening to...
And you're listening
to Breaking Down the Ring.
Breaking Down the Ring.
Breaking Down the Ring.
Breaking Down the Ring.
Breaking Down the Ring. Break it down.
Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
You are listening to the most inappropriate pro wrestling show in the motherfucking world. You're listening to Breaking Down the Ring. We are your ring crew.
The new undisputed champ, the whole effing Joe.
Bless you. Nick Nemeth.
Nick Nemeth? All right, this is Smitty.
And me, the all-Mikey one, Mikey himself. Joe, I need you to get tighter on Nick.
Oh, man.
I know.
I don't want a Dolph Ziggler.
Getting right into it.
Look, you need to be all Robert Roode close to him.
Glorious.
He needs to bring back that creepy mustache, too.
No,
Rusev
that's
did it for
all Rusev's now.
Rusev Del Rio?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. Remember the 8th of September. Sorry, just kidding. Remember the 6th of October.
I'll say the Edmund
because
Fitzgerald.
That's, motherfuckers, the 6th of October. Sure, it's the same day as WWE's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, but it is our debut Sunday show, starting at 11 a.m., going until 1 p.m. every Sunday now. We will be moving from Wednesdays because wrestling is changing. And because wrestling is changing, we are changing. Monday night, you are going to get Raw continuously as it's always been. But on Wednesday night, starting with tonight, NXT is going on USA, and then on TNT, AEW's weekly live show will be happening. And then, of course, starting October 4th, Friday night, you get SmackDown on Fox, which is kicking off with a huge WWE Championship match. Huge championship match. It's going to be Brock Lesnar taking on Kofi Kingston as Kofi defends his WWE Championship against the Beast incarnate. So yes, then we are going to go on Sunday morning, afternoon, wherever you're coming from, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But again, if for some reason it's a little bit too early for you, it's a little bit too late for you because you listen to us all around the fucking world. Thank you to everybody, broadcast, loyal fucking listeners out there in fucking Australia. You know, everyone else in Vegas, you know, this Pro Wrestling Scorecards crew, they listen to us, but fuck, that's 3 hours off of us, so that's still super early.
Danny, you better be getting up at 8.
So again, ladies and gentlemen, you can still subscribe to us on our Apple podcast, and we'll be coming to Spotify soon. If you are subscribed to us on our podcast, make sure you comment. Make sure you rate us 5 stars. Shout out to Jesse. Shout out to Stefan, all paying attention to us, leaving us comments on our YouTube and on our Facebook right now. What's up, everybody? So let's fucking get into it, man. We're going to kick off with the big news, everything going on right now with NXT. The first hour was live on the USA Network. It kicked off with a fatal 4-way women's match. It was Bianca Belair, Io Shirai, Mia Yim, and Candice LeRae fighting for the #1 contendership for Shayna Baszler's NXT Women's Championship. And what a great fucking match that was. You know, some of us... a lot of us had to drive here, obviously. All of us had to drive here, but some of us a little bit farther.
Smitty. Smitty didn't have drive.
No, Smitty doesn't. He never drives here. The motherfucker doesn't even have a license. So, Joe, you were kicking. We're going to start with you. You're the fucking champ, bro. So you're going to fucking kick this off for us. How did you feel about that fatal 4-way women's match, man?
Well, I only saw the first 5 minutes of it. So.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, did you? So you don't even, do you know at least who won?
No, I don't.
Oh, Candice LeRae is your winner and taking on Shayna Baszler for the title. No, it hasn't been announced yet. If I had to take a fucking guess for when it's going to be, probably October 2nd during another women's championship match.
You don't say.
It's, I don't know. If I had to bet money, I would probably bet on that. What's up, Craig? Saying, yowie, wowie. Well, just that first 5 minutes that you were able to catch, Joe, what were you thinking about? Was it the smart way to kick off NXT's first show live on on USA Network? It's not their first live show. It's their first for this extended, because they've done live on USA before.
I thought it was a bold move to kick it off with the women's match. So basically, for history purposes, the first ever NXT show on USA, the first person you saw besides Triple H was Io Shirai, and that can never be taken away from her. So that's, I don't know, I feel like that's really putting the ball not only in her court, but in the women's division's court for that brand. So I think it's a I think it's a big statement, a bold move, and a big honor for all the women in the match.
Nick, so this match went off. There a lot of talk on Twitter and everything is it's also the first ever NXT match to have a commercial break in the middle of it. And
see, I didn't see that.
Right off the bat,
you watched until the commercial break.
A lot of people were talking about this on social media. NXT is known for being on the network. You go in, you get that action, and that action stays in that ring, and then you get breaks in between, which are just small ads and everything. But
it's kind of like watching a pay-per-view. You get the WWE ads, which is just...
Exactly. But so now this was your first commercial break, which a lot of people have given shit to WWE about many other things before. That being said, do you feel like this is going to be maybe something they should try to fix and maybe go back to the old way of just commercials in between, or ad space is ad space and WWE is going to do what USA wants?
Well, WWE is going to do what USA wants. I don't like it. I've never been a fan of it. Even when they pull the match into the corner of the screen, I don't.
I still fast forward through that anyway.
Yeah,
I
do
still
too.
get up and pee during it anyway.
Every time. And I don't like it. I think especially with it being their very first show, they should have kind of shied away from it.
What was good about it being their first show is the fact that it still looked like NXT. Sure, there were subtle differences. The stage ramp is a little bit wider. The area outside of the ring is a little larger. It's not as so enclosed, as close it is to a barricade as to the ring. And the announcers were moved from right there at the stage to, I guess, hard cam side it should be, because as the camera's facing it, so to the left, if the hard cam ever turned left, you'd see the announcers, Beth Phoenix,
Sure.
Nigel McGuinness, and Mauro Ranallo there.
Is that why they widened around the ring so they could fit?
I'm assuming. I don't know exactly what the dimensions changed, but a lot of people were like, "Is the ring bigger?" Nope. WWE used a 20x20 ring for a very long time now, and NXT has always been the same ring. It's not changing. So little tweaks, nothing major. Z, smart on Triple H's part to still have it feel like it was, even though it is slight changes.
Yeah. I mean, we as wrestling fans like the NXT brand for what it was. If you make too many changes, then you fall into the category of, oh, Vince got his hands on this, and you know what I mean. So you have to keep your distance from the other two brands because that's the one thing you're known for, is being different.
I personally, when I first watched it, the first things I saw and thought were, one, Triple H has always been smart. You know, it's the way he's done this, the way he changed 205 Live when he got his hands on it. Triple H is, you know, pun not intended, a very cerebral with how wrestling should be. He's a huge fan of the old school wrestling, which is why he got War Games for NXT, which is why that he puts on these storylines that are just so good that so many people are involved in. So the fact that he made tweaks, but nothing to where anyone's like, oh my God, this is so much, I thought was genius, as well as how I thought he was really smart with using these 4 women to kick it off. Bianca Belair is a wonderful talent in the ring. She's a super powerhouse for a woman. You know, in her stature. I don't want to say like for a woman, but for her woman in her stature, because she's tall, but she's very petite still.
As far as her power, she reminds me of Cesaro. It's not like the biggest build, but she's very strong for her size.
That's fucking genius. That's fucking amazing comparison. Yes, looking at her, you're not going to think, oh, she can totally press slam a woman the same size as her, but she can. You know, and yes, that's spectacular. So putting Bianca Belair as one of your strongest talents, putting Io Shirai in there as, Joe, you said it best, man. A lot of people talk about how great Charlotte Flair is, but Io Shirai right now might be the best woman in wrestling.
I love
people always mention like Charlotte Flair, and like lately, you hear a lot of Tessa Blanchard. Mm-hmm. You know, people mention them too as a lot of being maybe the best women's wrestler to be going today. You never hear Io Shirai in that conversation, and I think she should be in that conversation.
Fully agree with that. And then, of course, Candice LeRae is just the lovable one. And we're not discounting Mia Yim.
I'm a huge fan of hers, dude. I love Mia. I love me some Mia Yim.
Mia Yim just had her shot at the NXT Women's Championship, came up short. I wouldn't have minded either 4 of these women going up against Shayna Baszler. Candice LeRae,
except for Bianca, only because I've already seen it a couple times.
Yeah, but all of them except Candice have already taken on Shayna Baszler. You know what I'm saying? So Bianca, you're right, but one of them was a triple threat match as well, and you know Io Shirai also in that triple threat match, and Io Shirai had a one-on-one match. So Candice LeRae is the one to finally be facing Shayna Baszler. I guess the question is Candice LeRae, Nick, probably could she be the one to finally take it off of Shayna Baszler?
I don't know, man. I think it's possible, but I just don't. Well, there's a couple different ways I could look at it. If they do have that match, which it's looking like they'll have that match on the same night as AEW debuts, I think it's possible. If they don't, then no, I don't think so. Not yet.
Z, same question.
I don't think it's believable.
Right.
You've had Shayna run through all these women her and Io Shirai had really good matches. She ran through Mia Yim. She ran through Bianca Belair. And then here's Candice LeRae that stands 5 foot nothing. And other than, you would have to give her that Rey Mysterio-esque run, but it's just not believable. A believable match is Shayna Baszler beats Candice LeRae in 30 seconds. I'm going to say from the way you build both of them up so far. But it's wrestling and it's storyline, so they probably will have David beating Goliath.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, to me, it's not believable.
Joe, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I mean, speaking of storyline wise, she's got Candice LeRae that has three things working against her. She's still got, a blood feud with Io Shirai and Io Shirai lurking in the background, and then Shayna Baszler has her two cronies that can always play a factor. So, storyline wise, Candice has got the odds stacked against her big time. And I don't see her coming out of this one on top.
I agree. Outside of bumbling interference from the other three,
because it might not even
horsewomen.
come from Shafir and Duke. It could come. Io Shirai could come do something.
Yeah,
And she's always lurking in the background.
Yeah. So I mean, Candice would need a lot of help to get this win. Possible? Sure. Probable? No, not. I don't agree.
And we've
with
seen that her only friend recently in the past has been Io Shirai, and we all saw how that went.
Mm-hmm.
So she doesn't really have friends unless Dakota Kai was to do some kind of run-in, but she's not very tough.
I was going to say that's another small person.
Yeah, she's not going to...
she's Team Kick, though.
Right.
Teeny Kick.
I don't see Dakota Kai standing up to any three of those, Shirai or Duke or Shafir.
I mean, you almost have to have Candice get her ass kicked for multiple episodes or weeks or whatever, and then just have her snap and have some kind of mean streak to make it even somewhat believable.
Yeah, it's kind of, I guess, the whole Bailey thing. Bailey, as far as the only reason that this title run finally caught fire for her is she kind of did a little turn and is running roughshod on people, doing all the heel things that everyone wanted her to do with a fucking kendo stick against goddamn Alexa Bliss a year ago.
But the difference is she's still playing the same character. Now she's just, I'm not really a heel, I'm a good guy, but does heelish things, which makes her even more heel. That's how they should have done it in the first place. Because Bailey's character is kind of always going to be the way it is.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
I didn't realize my volume was up. You were saying? Sorry.
I was just saying how they didn't really change Bailey's character. They just changed a couple things she does in the ring, like taking the pad off or hitting her with a steel chair, stuff like that. But she still claims to be the same person, which makes her a heel in her own right.
Right. Moving on from that, a prophecy was laid out by Adam Cole in the beginning of the year, and he said 2019.
Draped in gold.
Undisputed Era were going to be, as he said, draped in gold. And the last NXT show, O'Reilly and Fish took the NXT Tag Team Championships off of the Street Profits. And then this show ended with Roderick Strong versus Velveteen Dream for Velveteen Dream's North American title. Undisputed Era come out a little bit towards the end of it. Dream gets knocked into the ref. Then Dream fights off Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, only to be hit with Roderick Strong's finisher. He kicks out of it. He gets up. He hits a Dream Valley driver. He's going up top. Bobby Fish jumps up down the apron. The referee is distracted by Bobby Fish. Adam Cole hits a super kick on Dream, knocking him off the top rope into the middle of the ring. And then Roderick Strong hits his finisher on him again. 1, 2, 3. The prophecy is fulfilled. The Undisputed Era are completely draped in gold. NXT champion is Adam Cole, baby. North American champion for NXT is Roderick Strong, and your NXT Tag Team champions are Fish and O'Reilly. Undisputed Era, every member holding all of the men's titles. The only thing that would change this is if Candice LeRae went completely heel on Johnny Gargano, joined Undisputed Era as the first ever female.
I was just going to suggest that.
in a couple weeks, and then the Undisputed Era would have all of the gold. A match that was legitimately fucking-tacular. Storyline-wise, action-wise, move-wise, it was great. I understand that I don't think Z or Joe have seen this match yet.
I know the results.
Right, yeah, because we talked about it. Nick, you and I were watching it, so let's have a conversation with you. Just talk about it, man. How did that match do for you?
Well, I only caught the last 5 or 10 minutes of it, but I'm definitely going to go back and watch it later. But it was a great match, and it's really interesting to see stable, if you want to call them, faction, whatever, to have them all draped in gold.
Yeah.
As over as these guys are, one way or another, no matter how you look at it. That's
old school booking, though.
That's awesome.
Now,
I'm really happy with it.
outside of the match, Z, you said it yourself. You went right into where I was thinking of going. Some of the best factions, stables, have all held every title for many a years.
If not every main title, but like even like the Nation of Domination had like the European champion, the IC belt, and the tag belt. You know what I mean?
don't. I think the Nation of Domination is a great stable. I don't think they're considered one of the best.
But even back in the day, though, they at one point had 4 out of the 5 titles.
Right. So my thought process is obviously Triple H is running this, right? And I don't want to compare them to Evolution because in my frame of mind is Evolution was built on here's your current star, here's your old school star, and here are the 2 that you're going to bring up.
This is more
These
like a
are
4 horsemen kind of thing.
That's exactly where I'm thinking with this. That's fine. I'll take a beer. Root beer. Is the Undisputed Era this generation's 4 horsemen, Z?
I mean, the closest thing you're gonna get to, other than, all right. So there were like 8 different variations of the 4 horsemen throughout the years, but going to the original where you had Flair as the champion, Arn and Tully as the champs, and then. Why am I blanking out here? Who was the other one?
Well,
wasn't it the other Anderson?
Ole
wasn't
Anderson, or the more popular choice would probably be Barry Windham.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but Barry Windham didn't hold a title, right? Or was
He's held several titles?
No, I meant during the time of like the 4 Horsemen, like when
no,
Flair was
I mean
champ.
neither did Arn Anderson though either. I mean that was always Flair's.
No, I meant like,
he might have had the U.S. title.
Yeah, but that's what we're talking about. Like
that's
they've been draped in gold, like everybody in the
like
stable.
Flair had the main title, someone had the secondary.
I'm sure
title.
that happened at some point or another with Barry in there. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, but yeah, going back, this would be the closest thing to that. I mean, obviously, they're all a lot smaller than every guy mentioned.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be they would be the benchmark for NXT going forward. Like if you're gonna do another faction in NXT, Era's gonna be your benchmark.
Now, I don't think those 4 are living quite the nightlife that the old 4 horsemen
Well,
lived either.
that's what I'm saying. The question was, Joe, is the Undisputed Era this generation's 4 horsemen? Dude, as far as I'm concerned, 4 horsemen is your greatest stable of all time, and that is if you're going to make a stable, that is your benchmark stable. But like you said, Z, going forward with NXT to have another stable do something, they have to be as good, if not better, than what Undisputed Era is currently at this exact moment as they hold every piece of male gold in NXT. So, Joe, do you agree with that? Are they the benchmark in stables right now in NXT, maybe even in other wrestling, ROH, New Japan? Like, are they now better? Do you think Undisputed Era is moved above Bullet Club when Bullet Club was at its its popularity?
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
I'm talking. I'm not obviously.
Even the Bullet Club right now is pretty fucking sweet.
I'm not talking like in popularity. I'm talking about as these are your 4. These are your main guys right now. This is how it's really starting to go off. Is this as good as Bullet Club's best members?
I'm even gonna say no to that one.
I don't think so.
Okay.
You mean best members currently or best members just overall?
Period.
Overall.
No.
Okay, how about currently?
That's a maybe. That's a toss up.
I don't know. I mean, they got Kenta now, and Jay White and Tama Tonga are really
Yeah, but
good.
see, Kenta as Itami when he was in NXT or on the WWE roster, he got injured so much that like I started out as a huge fan of his, and it kind of just
Well, he's going back there to make his resurgence. So
I know,
see what
but
he has
it's,
over
it's
there.
a harder hitting style, and he couldn't even stay healthy in a soft style like WWE.
That's fluky shit, though. You can't blame that on. I mean, injuries happen no matter what kind of style you're working.
So,
okay, so like in the ring, yeah, they compare to the Four Horsemen, but like as far as like their lifestyle and the image they portray, and as fascinating they are as characters, nowhere near. No.
okay. So, but ring style.
Ring style, yeah, they're every bit as good.
All right. So, but are they the benchmark then for NXT stables? Are they the
for NXT?
Are they the benchmark for WWE stables?
No. Your benchmark's going to be like your DX.
Evolution,
Yeah.
DX. I mean,
The corporate ministry, corporation. I mean, there's just so many.
Right to censor it. No.
But I mean, your
Straight edge is mighty,
your benchmark for making money is probably going to be your DX, and your benchmark for in the ring talent is probably going to be Evolution because it was Triple H, Batista, Randy Orton, and Ric Flair. Like,
yeah, you're not fucking with them.
But yeah, I mean for NXT, but they're also the only stable in NXT, I believe. Like, there's nobody else that's even like put anything together to kind of feud with them, right? And if they have, they moved up. Like Sanity has moved to the main roster and since disbanded.
Mm-hmm.
What other stables have there been throughout NXT besides Sanity and Undisputed?
The Wyatt family.
That was in its.
It's
was
still.
That was in
still
its
there.
early infancy, though. NXT,
but-
yeah.
But I mean, it still counts. I think that's it.
Nick's in love with these fucking Dilla's Delights donuts.
That was named Lamangelo.
Let it be known. Did you see what I typed in our chat?
Yeah.
On the thing. That's what you went for.
That's right.
The donuts are fucking spectacular always. All right, so NXT draped in gold. How long? I mean, Undisputed Era draped in gold of NXT. Joe, are they going to hold it throughout the rest of 2019?
No. They just move belts around too fast nowadays. Don't care who it is.
Who drops first?
Cole the Dream.
No. Probably the tag belts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my honest answer, I'm going to go Roddy because I still think he's going to end up being outcasted and like leave the group. I think he's going to turn on them or they're going to turn on him eventually.
I think that they're going to hold it through 2019.
All four of them?
All four of them.
Are we going to bet on this? Because you lose money on these kind of bets.
It's fucking the middle of September, so we're talking October, November, December. We got at least one more NXT takeover.
Correct. And they got to compete with AEW.
Yeah,
so
and
they
got
just have a random
October
belt change
2nd.
just to get ratings.
Might as well consider October 2nd kind of a takeover, you know?
Right? Because it's the first 2-hour show on USA taking on AEW. Man, I'm not saying I'm going to bet on this.
$20.
Okay, I'll bet $20.
Here we go.
$20. Here we go. That Undisputed Era holds these title belts through the rest of 2019.
Yep.
Yeah. I see it. And if Adam Cole drops that NXT title, it's at Mania weekend. If there's whatever they're going to do with it. All right, so moving on to WWE's pay-per-views. Clash of Champions happened over the weekend. Quite a few title matches, quite a few title changes. The kickoff show saw Drew Gulak retain against Humberto Carrillo and Lince Dorado. AJ Styles retained against Cedric Alexander. Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode beat Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman to become the new Raw Tag Team Champions. SmackDown Championship, Women's Championship, Bayley defended against Charlotte Flair. The New Day lost the SmackDown Tag Team Championships to the Revival, and Revival becoming the first ever tag team to hold the NXT, Raw, and SmackDown Live Tag Team Championships.
Twice, right?
No.
They held each belt twice?
They have not. This is their first time holding the SmackDown belts.
Okay.
But they held Raw twice. They held NXT twice. But they are the first ones to hold all 3 of them. Up next, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross defeated Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville to retain the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Shinsuke Nakamura defeated The Miz, continuing to be the Intercontinental Champion for WWE.
You said it wrong. It's Nakamura.
Oh, with a Kinshasa! Sasha Banks beat Becky Lynch by disqualification after Becky Lynch swung the chair and hit a referee. And then they fought all around the arena, and then Becky Lynch
She got a
put an armbar.
$10,000 fine.
10 G's, dog. Eric Rowan beat Roman Reigns with the help of a returning Luke Harper in the no disqualification match after Kofi Kingston defended his WWE Championship against Randy Orton, continuing to be your WWE World Champion
Until October 4th.
And then the Universal Champion Seth Rollins defended fourth.
Oh, that's right, SmackDown. I was thinking the Wednesday.
Then Universal Champion Seth Rollins defended against Braun Strowman after giving Braun Strowman 4 curb stomps and a pedigree, only to walk up the ramp and be greeted by The Fiend, who then put a mandible claw on Seth Rollins to close out WWE's Clash of Champions. We filled out our pro wrestling scorecards. You can go to prowrestlingscorecards.com, fill your own out for every pay-per-view, the WWE ones, the NXT ones, and yes, that includes NXT UK, as well as AEW's pay-per-views. What, Z?
I got a question about that. So,
About
what? If 205 Live is really getting canceled, does that mean Drake Maverick is now officially in the poll to be on the show?
We don't know yet if it's even canceled yet.
Okay.
Pro Wrestling Scorecard said that they were going to adjust some of the scoring things going forward after this pay-per-view. Because
after I get screwed by a point? Thanks, Daniel. Appreciate it.
Didn't you have Drake Maverick?
I would have gotten those points too.
Shut up. Stop making sense.
Would you like this change for $1? No, I don't want to make sense.
Well, and then the OC didn't come out with AJ, but I couldn't pick them because
they were
on the card.
Yeah,
which was dumb. Daniel, fix it.
No, they OC always comes out with AJ. They did it this time. It's like managers. It's all, you would think even WWE put that.
Well,
I think for a while on the graphics was that Gallows and Anderson would be there. That being said, Joe, you with 107 points are our brand new Ring Crew champion.
Woo yeah!
What did you think about Clash of Champions, man?
It was all right. I liked some of it. Some of it was just okay.
So WWE consistently puts out decent pay-per-views in 2019. The only ones that aren't, Saudi Arabia ones. Weird.
But people watch those?
There isn't a single...
Those are the ones that cost the most, too.
There isn't a single bad WWE pay-per-view in 2019. They're not amazing, but again, WWE is consistently good. Not great, not spectacular. Good.
I was a little disappointed that AJ and Cedric were on the pre-show. Thought that deserved a little bit better.
Yeah.
What would you swapped out for?
I don't know.
Well, see, that's like we can always say, oh, we feel like it deserves something better, but what would have
probably the women's tag, the Mandy Rose and Sonya versus Bliss and Nikki.
So WWE hasn't featured the women's tag on anything until Bliss and Nikki. And the first real defense for them, they go pre-show?
I mean, they haven't put
Why
any.
not?
Yeah, they haven't put any steam into it so far. Why?
They do that shit with the fucking cruiserweight title.
Yeah, I mean, how's that any more relevant than a cruiserweight title? Especially when there's 2 sets of women's tag belts.
2 sets? There's only 1 set of women's tag belts.
SmackDown and the Raw, aren't there?
No.
Oh, it's just the one?
Yeah.
I still don't think the way they pushed it with
only SmackDown
they made
for the regular.
The way they I mean, they didn't put much value of it. They took it off Sasha and Bayley quick. The Iconics never did anything with them. So why are they all of a sudden, mid to mid upper card material? Like, I don't know.
Because if you don't start pushing it, it'll never hold value, and that's kind of what they have a problem with. Is we all said it ourselves. The minute they started putting all these titles, we're like, some of these titles are going to get fucked in the ass, and they're going to lose a lot of importance. And those women tag team belts were the major one that lost everything. There isn't a you just look at it, and until Alexa and Nikki had it, no one nobody cared about it. I'm sure people like, oh, the Iconics could have blah 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 blah, but
they carried it a long time, but they never defended it.
Even with Paige, Kairi Sane, and Asuka trying to fight for it, nobody cared. Social media didn't care. No, when they fucking went over in Japan to get that match, no one cared, and so nobody was really talking about it, even when they tried to do something with it. Then when Alexa and Nikki got it, all of a sudden you got some semblance of conversation regarding the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. So therefore, what you have to do is you have to stoke that flame. I think putting that on the pre-show would have hurt it. Now, at the same time, I wouldn't have minded watching Seth and Braun on the pre-show lose the Raw Tag Team Championships. I would have thought that would have been a better one, because then, of course, it also extends how much longer they have to fight.
I just don't think out of principle you can have your Universal Champion on the pre-show.
But going back to the women's tag titles, part of the reason they don't get recognition, though, is they don't really have a tag division. They just kind of, other than like, you got your Mandy Rose and your Kairi Sane and whatever the other one's name is. But other than that, you're just
what?
Wait, did you just put Mandy Rose and Kairi
That was
Sane
some
together?
Smitty-esque
I
shit
said you
right
have,
there.
You have Mandy Rhodes and Sonya Deville.
Oh, okay.
And then you have
You didn't say that, though. You said Mandy Rose
you
and
did
Kairi
not
Sane.
say Sonya.
Sorry. Well, no, and then you have Kairi Sane and whatever the other one. Oh, Asuka. There we go. There we go.
Whatever the other one.
Whatever the other
They have
one's
the
name
same chest.
is. No, they have the same accent. There's a difference. But I mean, you have like 3 or 4 established teams.
Right.
Beyond that, you're kind of just pairing people together so if there's no real competition, nobody really cares about the belts, period.
Mm-hmm.
That was my only point.
And that's why I'm saying I totally would have. I don't think it should have.
Plus,
when it went.
the whole way the start of the tag belts happened with Bayley and Sasha having them. They were supposed to have like some prestigious run, put some value to these belts. But then that like rug got completely pulled out from underneath them and the division itself. So the belts have been suffering ever since then, really.
Yeah,
I agree.
You put them on the Iconics, but then you don't feature the Iconics, so
And
the
I mean,
belts don't get featured.
The Iconics are actually a legit tag team.
Yep.
I mean, they're one of the.
But I haven't
One of
seen,
the
I
few.
haven't even seen them since they lost
No.
the
Right.
belts.
I could have had the Miz and Shinsuke on the pre-show for a swap for that. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of build-up to that. I'm not the biggest.
I mean, if
Shinsuke
it wasn't
fan.
for the IC belt, I would say yeah, but it's.
That's the only thing.
But then again, they haven't put much importance on that belt a lot in most recent history.
Right.
Well, shit, they just started putting Shinsuke back on TV, and he's been holding the belt for a while.
But right there, that's your problem with your Clash of Champions pay-per-view. I mean, a lot of people forgot about that fucking show.
Yep.
Dude, like, we fucking show it. We talk about it with fucking at Buffalo Wild Wings, just like we're doing Hell in the Cell on October 6th. But even we didn't talk much about it, because even the build-up to some of these matches outside of your main title match, like, and even the Randy Orton Kofi Kingston lost steam towards the end of it. It's a problem that WWE has with their championships. So therefore, if you're always consistently not doing things with certain championships, a pay-per-view showcasing all of those championships is not going to be something that anybody gives a fuck about, because it's something that they haven't cared about half of that stuff for months.
Right, like who cared about the Cruiserweight title match? Probably nobody, unless you have the network.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because that is the only place it is featured. And we already talked about how the tag titles for the women aren't really featured. They just started featuring tag teams on both Raw and SmackDown again, which I think has a lot to do with the new regime taking over. The IC belt is back on TV. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
they're making steps to correct these problems, but they should have pushed this pay-per-view. They should have done like Hell in a Cell and then that pay-per-view and put more emphasis on all the championships going into pay-per-view called Clash
But
of Champions.
it's still wonky tag team division wrestling. I mean, they throw the belts on Braun and they take them off an established team, throw them on Braun and Seth. Take them off Braun and Seth and throw them on a team that's only tagged together like 2 times, Ziggler and Rude. Like,
Yeah, they're flip-flopping a
that's
lot.
not even real tag team wrestling. That's not a real tag division.
Yeah, but come October 11th, when they have their draft again, I think we'll see they're going to be exclusive to one brand or another. So you're going to see more consistency all around going forward.
You don't know that. I mean,
I'm hoping.
I'm already reading about pushback against Paul from Vince. That might be another reason why Cedric and AJ was on the pre-show, because I've been reading a bunch of reports saying that Paul wants to push Cedric and Vince just doesn't like him, and now he wants to bury him, and that's why he beat him bad 2 nights in a row, and he got relegated to the pre-show.
Yeah, I don't know. I ain't paying.
I guess
I don't. I'll be honest. I don't fucking pay attention to the dirt sheets because I don't give a fuck. The dirt sheets are gonna say certain things. Certain things are gonna come true. Dirt sheets are gonna say other things. Other things are not gonna come true. I go by what I see, and what I see right now is while you're talking about how they're finally putting some importance on these titles, was it just now because it was Clash Champions? Are we about to watch these titles, not just tag team titles, but like the IC belt? Is it going to start falling again to the wayside?
I hope not. But
You can't say
but
you
you have a solid point.
You can't say you completely don't go by it, because we read reports from other sources on this show all the time. So those would technically be considered dirt sheets, for lack of a better
when I go to the
term.
dirt sheets, it's usually because of something that hits on Twitter big. And then we'll go, and then it becomes something big enough to talk about, to where we will go to a dirt sheet to have a conversation about.
Well, Meltzer is reporting on what I just said. Whether that holds any weight with you or not, I don't know. It holds weight with some people, and with others it
Meltzer
doesn't.
doesn't hold a lot of weight with a lot of people right now, because it's the same thing as how I feel about Bleacher Report. Bleacher Report used to be a very biased wrestling website, and they got AEW. All of a sudden, WWE is the worst fucking thing in the world. To Bleacher
Now they're
Report.
biased in another direction.
Yeah, and I have zero problem checking out on some huge stories. I will say the Cedric Alexander thing I didn't hear about until, and we all fucking know I'm all over social media, so I didn't hear about that until you just said it.
Yeah, I was just I didn't hear about it either, and I don't read a lot of the stuff I see, but I'm in a bunch of different wrestling groups, so on my timeline on Facebook alone,
Yeah, it'll just
I just
shit'll just come across.
yeah, it just
Whether I'm looking
flies at me, or,
whether I'm looking for it or not.
exactly. But I haven't even seen that report.
I've seen it a few times actually.
So Z, you went back, you rewatched Clash of Champions. What stood out to you as the big moment, minus the Fiend with Seth Rollins? What was something that you were like, holy shit, good for them, or great fucking move?
I mean, honorable mention, Braun Strowman's high risk move. So that was fun to watch.
Did you think he was gonna die?
You know, I did. Okay, so I'm not used to Strowman going off of the top rope without the ring imploding.
Right.
So that was kind of weird.
They reinforced it.
Beyond that, I'm going to be completely honest with you, man. Nothing really wowed me or stuck out. Like, there was good matches, don't get me wrong. Like, there was nothing that completely stunk it up, but there was nothing that stood out and was like, ooh, that was awesome. It was just, a little bit better than a normal Raw.
All right. Nick.
The Luke Harper moment wasn't like, wow, but it was like, oh, there he is.
He got off his couch.
Because anything I was reading before, it kind of made it seem like he was
benched.
Yeah, and done, in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
So when he came out there, and especially not wearing their gimmicky, Bludgeon Brothers fucking tights and all that crap, and some sweet
he still wore
shirts.
bedazzled pants or frilly pants or
so,
whatever.
Yeah,
the
that
fuck
was
that's
kind of
called.
cool, I guess. But other than that, it was just kind of like, all right, nothing too crazy.
I didn't even realize that was Luke Harper at first. I thought Rowan hit him, and then it went back. I was like, oh, that's not Rowan. That was Luke Harper that hit him. I thought that was a good surprise because nobody saw that coming. Joe, did you see that coming?
No, and I'm a big Harper fan, and I probably would have been a lot more happy not knowing everything that's been going on with his contract situation, him asking for his release and having that not being granted, and not only not being granted, they tacked another 6 months onto his contract for the time he was injured, and then just sat him on the bench until right now. But like I just said, all that being said, kind of sullied his return for me.
But it seems like they brought him back to put him in like not a main event picture, but a main storyline.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Anything involving Roman Reigns is considered some sort of main event story.
That's what I mean.
We don't know how long the Roman and Rowan feud is going to go, though. I mean, maybe.
Oh, I'm not saying it's going to be for a long time.
It's looking like it's going to be Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns versus Luke Harper, or the Bludgeon Brothers.
Yeah.
Without their hammers.
Eric Rowan going over on Roman Reigns was something I thought needed to happen, and I was very happy WWE did that.
Right, but I would have been happier had Rowan gone over clean. No. I mean, granted, it's still clean because it was a no DQ match.
Yeah,
but without help from another person.
No.
That's not going to happen, dude.
One, I agree with Joe. It's not going to happen. Two, doesn't fucking matter. Even Roman Reigns has been beaten by 5 dudes and still went out on top.
8 F5s.
So let's not. It doesn't fucking matter. The amount of people involved in beating a Roman Reigns. I'll take something. I don't care. But it just matters that Roman Reigns took a loss in the center of the ring. We've said for a while now that if you want to not get those Roman Reigns boos, Roman Reigns needs to look beatable. He needs to look like you're not making him the undefeated, always going to be on top of stuff guy. You have to make it just like anybody else. That when Austin got big, it was because he was being beaten, and then Austin lost titles. You know what I'm saying? Austin didn't fucking run a year with a belt. He didn't have a CM Punk type run. He didn't have fucking John Cena type runs. Austin went for a couple months, and then fucking McMahon did something, and it cost him the belt, to which he then fought back for it. He was always in the main event picture, but he wasn't always winning the main event
because
matches.
The money was in Austin chasing the belt.
And it's in anybody chasing a belt. You want to make somebody look like it's a good run for the main event, and nobody is bought into if they look perfect. So Roman Reigns losing, I thought, was a great move on WWE's part. Vince, whomever decided it, doesn't matter. The bottom line is Roman Reigns taking a loss was a good move. It was good for business. Sorry, it was best for business. If you really want to get this guy over, you want to get him back into your main event without the boos, make people want him there.
They're doing a good job.
That storyline was so long and drawn out and just speed bumped and hiccuped and like changed throughout the way. Like I just totally wasn't even invested in it at all by the time it reached its point, you know?
I'm different. I was. Was anything perfect? No, but there isn't a fuck. Dude, even the Kofi Kingston title win at WrestleMania was not a perfect storyline into it, but it was still a great finish for it. And the stuff with this didn't take me out of it, mainly because it also brought in people that hadn't been showcased yet. Buddy Murphy was made to look great.
Yep.
You know, so when they finally fit him into something, because they're not doing all the championships, you're going to see Buddy Murphy look good, and he has going to have a following.
And now Eric Rowan looks less like a goon and more like an actual talent.
Yeah. Right.
Like an actual player in the game now instead of just some guy on the sidelines.
Which is the exact opposite that WWE did for Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman taking that loss, I don't care how many curb stomps, I don't care how many finishers he took. The bottom line is Braun Strowman has fought 6 times for a Universal Championship and not won it at all.
Loses all credibility. He's no longer a monster.
Yeah.
And like you said, doesn't matter how many curb stomps you took, you still let him do 5 curve stomps or how many ever it was, and you still lost. When really, in reality, looking at the size difference, Braun should have beat you in a minute and a half. No matter who you are, really.
Right.
Braun's good at throwing grappling hooks, though. Don't take that away from him.
Or really big cellos.
Yeah.
Braun, Man, and Robin.
Blunt Man and Chronic?
Nick, is there any salvage for Braun Strowman right now, or does he need to just go away off TV for a couple months?
Yeah, I think he needs a break. I mean, the coolest part of that match was him jumping off the top rope. You know, and like you said, he's lost his last. It's been that many 6 times.
6.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
I mean, granted, 4 of them are against Brock Lesnar.
No.
5 were against Lesnar.
No,
3 were against Lesnar.
Yeah, I think 3. Half of them.
Once against Seth, and who were the other 2?
I think
Probably Roman Reigns.
I think Roman's was 2 of them actually.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, because they had those back to
Yeah.
Yep.
Leave and come back as like a super heel. Just go away for a while.
Do you think Joe? Do you think him coming back, if he goes away and comes back as a super heel, and then you finally put a belt on him, does that help? If
you almost have to.
And does it have to be the Universal belt? Could it be the mid card title?
No.
He's
too big. Your mid.
Did you ever see the IC belt on Andre? Or come on.
Other than the Big Show, but
they fucked up his entire.
Yeah, but
career.
your mid card belts are more the way it used to be. Was your mid card belts were for your best worker, and then your heavyweight championship was for your biggest draw. That's why you never seen Hogan have the IC belt, because Hogan wasn't your best worker, but he was your biggest draw, so he had the heavyweight title. Then you get guys like Brett in the new generation, who Brett was your best worker, but he became your biggest draw.
So going back to the question, Joe, if you pull Braun away for a couple months and he comes back as a monster heel, and he finally gets a belt, the belt, is his credibility somewhat restored? If you give him, what can you do to bring Braun Strowman back from the grave that you've buried him in?
Basically, you just have to push him as a monster. No more tickle butt shit. He's got to be scary. He's got to be. No one can fuck with him. I mean, he's got to be unbeatable, and even then, and that might work for the masses, but that probably still wouldn't work for me, honestly.
Yeah, they got.
What would work for you?
Probably nothing. I think that I can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
The problem with Braun,
he's tipped over too many ambulances and thrown too many grappling hooks and done too much tickle butt shit and tagged with too many cancer nicks. I'm done. Done for good. Checked out.
But their biggest problem is they keep trying to push Braun as like this
lovable monster.
Yeah,
not a lovable monster, but they're trying to legitimize like his wrestling skills. Like, but he shouldn't be in a wrestling match. He should be in like a brawl, or he hits a guy like 6 times and then it's over because he's huge. Like, they need to have him go in there and dominate. They don't need him to go in there and have an actual wrestling match with Seth Rollins. They need to have him go in there and like just beat the living shit out of Seth Rollins.
Nick, is there anything that salvages him for you?
For me, just what I said, and that wouldn't even make me be like, okay, Braun's back, cool, and now he's a fucking asshole. And no, that's a last-ditch effort.
Yeah, I don't think I could see Braun as an asshole. At least not now. Like, maybe if you took him off of TV for a year. And
it doesn't help that he goes on like social media and stuff and shows off like his crooked trucker flat-brimmed hat and his nipple ring and shit like that.
Yep.
And completely takes himself out of character and takes any believability away from himself on his own, despite what the company does to him. Like, you don't see Undertaker on social media doing shit like that.
Even like Kevin Owens on social media played into his heel shit.
You're supposed to use social media to enhance your character.
Yeah, look
not
at,
take
look
away
at MJF.
from it.
I mean, MJF uses all platforms to just be the super.
You don't use social media to pull the curtain back. You use it to enhance your character, to put more into your storylines.
Yeah, but the company's doing it too, though. With
that doesn't make it right.
I know, but Seth and Becky getting engaged and like they do that thing with Charlotte and Andrade too. They like show them on vacation and shit like that. like the company as well as the superstars need to stop using social media to pull the curtain back and to enhance the characters.
I agree.
I think they can get away with some of it, with some of them, but when you look at, you had the Wyatt family, and look at the rest of them now, they're all still kind of somewhat in those same waters.
Even Bray Wyatt doesn't go on social media and pull the curtain back on himself.
And Braun's the only one.
I'm agreeing with you, Nick. I think some of them it's okay with.
Yeah. Your face is, you
even,
can a little bit.
Not even that. I don't mind the Charlotte Andrade stuff because the Andrade stuff with Zelina Vega is not there together. The Andrade and Zelina Vega is Zelina is his manager and she's propelling him into
and
higher
Charlotte
heights.
and Andrade are both heels, so it works.
Okay, understand, but still, there's like again, I agree.
To me,
with
that's
you,
not
Joe.
the same as like a monster not being a monster on
but that's
social
what I'm saying.
media.
I'm talking about when your gimmick is when you are a gimmick. Charlotte's not a gimmick, right? Andrade's not a gimmick.
Okay, fair enough.
Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, they're not gimmicks. Fucking Braun, a gimmick. Undertaker, a gimmick. Bray Wyatt, a gimmick. These are all people that need to abide by what they are.
They need to stay in kayfabe.
I 100% fully agree with that. You need to be your gimmick if you're a gimmick.
Like you used MJF as an example, and if he was Mr. Nice Guy, fucking baking
It would
cakes
ruin
and
it,
shit on America's Next Great Baker, and then he's an asshole on TV.
Yeah, and if he was super
know.
nice to people on social media and stuff.
But I mean, that would be an MJF cake, though. Like,
fuck you, fatty, eat it. We're like, oh, MJF.
because even when we were in the interview with him at StarCast, he would kind of like ease up a little bit, and you'd be like, "Oh my god, he's showing a nice," and then just like a snake bite, just
ripped in the fucking cue ball and everything.
Yeah, like the cute dog you're petting that ends up biting your face off.
Right, like, oh, look at this little fucking chihuahua. I agree. Social media is either your best friend or your worst enemy when you're in the business of professional wrestling.
But you're also taking on a company now that uses social media the way it should be used for wrestling. So like AEW uses it in the proper channels, whereas WWE, if they're going to compete long term, even though they're the juggernaut, should kind of learn how to play that game as well.
I think currently the reason AEW is doing it so well is mainly because there's no real gimmick in AEW outside of the Lucha Bros. Like the
Luchasaurus.
outside of the Lucha stuff, right?
The Dark Order's pretty
yeah,
gimmicky.
but is Dark Order even on social media?
Who the fuck cares?
Yeah,
They're
but-
terrible.
Yeah. So, but again, when the only real gimmick you have is MJF, who you can just Brian Corporal the fuck out of, everything. It's fine because Cody is your lovable guy. The Bucks are your lovable tag team. Everyone loves Kenny, so on and so forth. Anything else with them in their instance?
What about
Orange
Smiley
Cassidy?
Kylie Ray?
Orange, she's gone.
She's actually no longer with the company.
She's no longer with the company. They released her during All Out.
She asked for her release.
Yeah, and they
she's
said,
got some medical issues or something.
But Orange Cassidy.
She lost her smile.
Ooh, she should go see Britt Baker.
DDS.
So, okay, Orange Cassidy is a pure gimmick, right? Love him, but he's pure gimmick. His social media doesn't break it, and he's now AEW. Your gimmicks are Orange Cassidy and the Lucha Bros, Luchasaurus, and fucking MJF.
I don't even consider
So
MJF.
far.
I don't even consider MJF a gimmick.
If MJF went,
To me, he's just a dick, and I mean those occur in real life all the time.
Right, but if he did something that wasn't dickish,
On
then
social media,
he would kind of be breaking character.
Right.
So it
That's
is a
why
gimmick.
he doesn't. Well, just because he doesn't show opposite of what he shows to the public on social media doesn't mean that his act or whatever he's doing is a gimmick.
I think it kind of does though. Like if he stays in character form.
To me, a gimmick is like The Undertaker, like the Repo Man. That's a fucking gimmick.
Yeah, but
I don't consider
see, when you got to the Attitude Era, it started blurring the lines.
Dudleys
of-
were a gimmick for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But MJF is just a dude wearing a scarf using his real name. That's not a fucking gimmick to me. just because he's a dick to everybody all the time and doesn't stop being a dick, that doesn't.
John
to me,
Cena, the rapper, was that a gimmick for you, or was that just John Cena trying to be a rapper? Because that would be kind of like the same thing. That's his legal name.
And he did fucking rap, and he was doing all
No, I
that.
don't really-
He had an album.
I don't really consider that a gimmick either.
Okay.
Weird, because I totally consider that.
Yeah, 100%.
Because when I say the way I think of gimmick, and any type I've heard it, is these are things that you're portraying your character to be 24/7, but not how you are 24/7. Sure, like.
But the best characters are not gimmicks; they're their own personalities with the volume turned up, and that's
but
what
the
I
volume
see.
being turned up would be a
That
gimmick.
No, it's not, dude. It's just an extension, an exaggeration of yourself.
Like Stone Cold.
And that's what I see in
and
MJF.
Even Austin said that was his gimmick. It's
Austin calls everything a gimmick. I still don't consider Austin a gimmick wrestler. Maybe when he was the ringmaster.
The ringmaster.
No, I fully agree that every one of them is a gimmick. Because if it's not you personally, 100% of the time, it's sure.
Well, then every wrestler in the history of professional wrestling is a gimmick. Then.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I would.
I would agree with that wholeheartedly.
All right.
Now, granted, again, I will also agree with you, Joe, that it is themselves turned up a notch. And the reason why it's a gimmick is it's because it's not what they do in their everyday life. Austin doesn't go around fucking, hey, I'm gonna sit here on my couch and I need to drink 2 beers at the same time. Boom.
Although I wouldn't.
But
be
he pretty much
surprised.
still talks the exact same way all the
Yeah,
time
yeah.
when he's in the ring. I mean, that's just his vernacular.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, Shawn Michaels is now bald and he's not a boy toy anymore, but
He's my heartbreak kid. All right, let's move on to the things that happened this week on Raw and SmackDown, especially what happened to start off SmackDown. SmackDown kicked off with the FTR KO losing again to the New Day. But after the match, Brock Lesnar's music hits, and out comes Brock and Paul Heyman, to which Heyman says Brock wants to fight Kofi Kingston on October 4th, the first ever episode of SmackDown on Fox for the WWE Championship. Kofi says, I've said since I won this, I was be a fighting champion, so you're on. Nick, is Kofi done?
Yeah.
Yep.
He was shaking in his boots. I don't like the fact that they did it the way they did. I would have preferred, just me personally, to see some kind of open challenge on the October 4th show, and here comes Brock Lesnar, because I automatically figure and assume that Brock is going to win the championship. So I'm just like, okay, yep, and there's Brock. All right, now I know what to expect.
leading to your first ever 6-man Hell in a Cell match, or 6-man tag Hell in a Cell match.
Joe, is Kofi done?
Yeah, probably. He's probably had a longer run than anyone would have given him credit for. So I think so. I think mostly because that's what Fox wants.
Yeah,
they want Brock Lesnar as their champion.
And see, there was talks about that when Brock had the briefcase. They were saying he was going to cash in on the first night, but everyone's like, "Oh."
To me, that's what they should have done. That would have been more exciting.
But this is the reason you didn't need the briefcase on Brock in the first place. All Brock has to do is show up and say, "I want a title shot."
Yeah, but
they're going to give him a title.
I thought
shot.
they should have kept the briefcase on Brock longer, actually, because that was actually pretty fun.
Ziam, I'm in full agreement with you that I feel like Brock coming out and demanding this match negated the reason that you put the Money in the Bank on him.
That was my very first thought when he came out.
I have no problem with him cashing in to do Saudi Arabia. I'm really upset that it was used just for the Saudi match. You know, it's a...
It was
Wait,
weird
wait,
seeing Heyman on SmackDown,
Wait,
though.
was it used during the Saudi match? Am I thinking something wrong?
No, it was...
It was after.
No,
Like,
it,
we
was
all
before,
thought-
it was one before SummerSlam because Seth won it back at SummerSlam. So what was the pay-per-view before
Extreme
SummerSlam?
Rules?
Yeah. Yeah, Extreme Rules because
Yeah.
Corbin and Becky And then after that match, Brock came out and
Yes, exactly. Yes. So, but again, if Brock did not do that and he did use it to cash in for the first ever episode of SmackDown, I think it would have held more weight.
yeah,
At the same time, I'm okay with the fact that Seth lost that belt. Seth needed to lose that belt. That was a boring fucking title run. I think Kofi is a boring fucking title run right now. You know, I thought he should have.
but
dropped
the
it to Randy.
crowd. I mean, the crowd disagrees with you.
That's fine
because
The
he's
crowd
still
fucking-
got the crowd behind
The
him.
crowd fucking pumped up Austin left and right, and he still lost.
Oh no, I'm
Yeah,
just
but that's-
just saying, Kofi is still like Seth is kind of fizzled out. Like everyone's kind of bored with Seth,
Mm-hmm.
whereas Kofi, we're kind of bored with Kofi, but fans and the kids still love him.
No, okay. I want Kofi to stay in that main event picture. I think he deserves it. I think he's great in it. But when the storyline is going to be focused on this long title run, I think some of the best main event titles were when you had those titles go on somebody for 2 or 3 months,
Right.
and then they drop it and they get it back. You know what I'm saying?
But at some point here too, if he holds it long enough, he's gonna have to turn heel just so they can write new stories.
Right. And I kind of wish he would have dropped it 2 months ago, or even, fuck that, 2 months ago. I wish he would have dropped it 2 months ago to Randy Orton and then beat Randy Orton at Clash of Champions to finally beat the demon that was lingering for 10 years, only to then have to go fight
roadblock into
fucking
Brock
Beast
Lesnar.
Incarnate on SmackDown.
But now, with the way you just described that, then I would think, okay, maybe Kofi is going to beat Brock. Right now, I'm thinking, no way. I'm like, he's held the title since WrestleMania. This is it. This is
Right.
the end of the road.
And-
Whereas, at least if he would have dropped it to Orton and won it back from Orton, then I'm like, oh, he just beat Randy Orton. Now he's got to face Brock Lesnar? Fuck.
Right, but like you just said, what you said was then it plays into the route of now
Either-
you think
the
that he
match can
could
go
win.
either way,
Yeah,
yeah.
you could, and so therefore there's more intrigue, there's more interest in it. Smitty said he's done via the Fox route and minorities.
What?
That's what. Remember,
You don't even make sense in messages.
If Kofi drops it to Brock Lesnar on the first ever episode of SmackDown on Fox, does he get it back anytime soon? Z?
Okay, so after watching the 6-man tag match before Lesnar came out, my first thought was, oh, Kofi's not going to defend the title at Hell in a Cell. It's just going to be these 6 in the cage, which kind of put an end to that feud and, move on. Then Lesnar comes out. I think he's going to lose. Obviously, we all think he's going to lose it. Maybe Rumble? The thing is, if he loses to Brock on that first episode on Fox, I don't see him beating Brock for the belt. So I think either at the draft, because it'd be the following week, the 4th
Yes.
and then the 11th, you might split up the New Day. Now Kofi goes to Raw and can fight Seth, which would be a good matchup for the Universal Championship. But if you do keep him around, I don't see him taking the WWE Championship off of Brock Lesnar if Brock beats him for it. I don't see him getting it back. I could see Big E beating Brock Lesnar. I just don't see Kofi doing it.
Joe?
You're asking if I
If
think
Kofi
that
can
Kofi will
if
get
he
it back
drops
soon if he loses it? No, I don't.
Do you think he's done as well? Like when I
Done-
was saying done earlier, I meant done as your WWE champion.
Oh, period?
Yes.
That's a tough question.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, this run wasn't even supposed to happen in the first place. It just kind of happened, by happenstance, and then it was a good feel-good moment at WrestleMania. Unless some extenuating circumstances like that come across, I don't see Kofi holding that title again. I think this is kind of a one-off for him, and you made it, kid.
They
type
gave him a
thing.
nice little 6-month run, though.
Yeah,
Is
that's what I just said earlier.
Yeah.
That's probably a longer run than anyone would have thought that he would have had.
7 months.
A lot of us were thinking he would hold to SummerSlam.
Yeah.
I mean, when he first took it, that's what we were all talking about. I personally still feel it's 50-50. And the only reason I feel it's 50-50 on him retaining on SmackDown is because you got to pull Paul away from Brock. You're not putting Paul on both shows. This could finally be that break in that in that relationship. Paul turning on him and then obviously leaving and going to Raw, and then only for the draft to happen and Brock to go to Raw. You know?
I thought that too, because they've kind of, and I don't know if they're purposely doing it or they're just happenstance, but the telling Paul, get in the ring now, like, get in here, you know, like stuff like that. So they are kind of planting seeds, whether they're meaning to or not.
Right.
They're still planting seeds for Heyman to turn, but they've also teased it so many times while Brock's contract has been in limbo the past couple of years. I mean, I would like to see Brock without Paul.
I can't even imagine that, honestly. I don't see why Paul can't do, you know, his Monday Night Raw duties, you know,
behind the scenes
with
and
running
then-
the show, and then just be a performer on Friday.
Yeah, he's an on-air talent on Friday.
Yeah, I mean,
the
that's
man behind the scenes on Monday.
the McMahons have been doing that for
But that's
years.
if Paul wants to do that schedule, unless he just wants to stick to one or the other.
But if you pull Paul, if you break them up, right, and then they do the draft, is it Paul and Eric Bischoff drafting? They're your heads of creative.
You would, yeah. I mean,
So then
you would think
by-
so, because when they had Eric on at the pay-per-view, he was like, "Oh, why don't you come join us over at SmackDown?"
Right,
So,
so-
for sure, it's going to be Bischoff.
Then you got to think if Paul costs Brock that title, he's not fucking drafting him to Raw.
But if he doesn't cost him the title, Brock's going to be his number one draft pick.
It's very
So
possible,
now the main title comes back to
and the
Raw,
big
and then the
red belt
Universal
goes-
turns blue.
Yeah.
Or if Eric somehow
Blue Universal title.
gets the first pick and just you know, snipes Brock from Paul right off the bat.
You got to assume Brock Lesnar is going to be top 2.
Yeah,
draft pick.
I would think,
especially
yeah.
for story. If Paul and Brock are the heads of, you know, Raw and SmackDown respectively, and they're drafting against each other, and so wouldn't that just be a kick in the balls from Eric to Paul storyline wise? Like, took your boy Brock right off the bat. What do you think about that, Paul?
And that could be their breakup.
But I don't know if that plays a storyline wise.
It does, at least for the draft.
Well, but understood. But to have something continue with it, because even still, outside of this draft, because we know that they're the heads of creative, it's been said they're not going to be on TV.
Right.
Well, I thought Paul was gonna. I read that Paul was gonna do that and still continue his role on TV as Brock's advocate.
I mean that's what he has been
Right,
doing.
and then even then, it could still be playing into kayfabe. Like there's still, I think that there's still intrigue in Kofi retaining because of that. And that's the only reason I can see Kofi retaining is because Paul turns.
The intrigue comes from no one thinks he's going to retain. So if he does, people will be shocked.
Right.
But now, have they said what they're doing with the champions though? Like, are the champions
they
going to
haven't said
stay
anything.
exclusive? Are the champions going to be able to jump brands? Like,
I don't know. No, they said that everything is exclusive to where it is.
all right.
But the only thing that doesn't make sense in that is your women's tag team champions.
What do you mean everything's exclusive to where like
The brands, like they're Raw.
so the champions can't be drafted then?
Yeah.
No. What?
Yeah, I would assume that.
That's weird.
No, I thought they're having a draft, and if you're drafted, you're exclusive to that brand.
No,
not
that's
that they
I
couldn't
don't
be
know
drafted.
if that's. I don't know if that means that champions can't be drafted.
I just know that
Well, yeah,
they're going to
Seth
be.
can't go to SmackDown because the belt's red.
Well, that was my thought.
Gonna become
It's
the
going to
Blue
be
Universal
blue.
title.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
Universal.
The Blue Universal.
Yeah.
And Blue Meanie will be the inaugural champion.
Oh, it should be Blue Tista.
But I mean, if they are exclusive to each brand, because that's what they said. Like, there's no more of this.
There's no more
shake up, no more wild card rule.
You're on your brand.
Yes, but they didn't specify if that still carried for like your main championships. Maybe you have like the U.S. belt on one and the other, but your two champions can go back and forth. Like I haven't seen the parameters for this. I just know I barely even knew there was going to be a draft. They mentioned it on Monday, and I'm like, when the fuck did this come up?
Oh, this came up like a week and a half ago.
Yeah, and the wild card rule is no more, right?
Yes, no, they're 86ing that completely.
So you'll stop seeing people on both shows.
Yes, exactly. They'll be exclusive to whatever brand they are drafted to, from my understanding of what is going to happen on the 11th.
Yep, wherever you're drafted, that's where the fuck you stay. So,
there's a lot of fucking variables.
Right, and well, honestly, they're already doing it. It's coming off that with Fox, man. WWE's the Blue brand is your number one show now.
That's only because Fox is demanding them have certain stars, which
Fox is also giving them network television
and billions of dollars.
But you turn on channel 2, you got WWE on channel 2,
right.
Ladies and gentlemen. You don't even need cable to get SmackDown now. It's literally you can buy that fucking HD antenna for $35 at Best Buy. I almost said Radio Shack. They're out of business. You can buy that $30 antenna and you get WWE SmackDown. So it doesn't fucking matter how long USA has had Monday Night Raw and how that's the flagship show. It's not reaching as many people as SmackDown is. So the majority of things that are going to lead off will lead off with SmackDown now.
Well, it'll still be a battle of the ratings to see who's the bigger show. And let's face it, more people are going to be going out on Friday nights and not watching wrestling as they would be on Mondays. It's not a good night to have any show, really, if you're a TV show.
I'll be honest, I don't think when you have a show really matters much anymore. Just for the simple fact of DVRs.
For the live ratings.
Yeah.
Not what do they call the other one? Like up to 3 days after? There's another term for it.
Don't know. I know what you're referring to. Don't know what the
yeah.
What it's called.
There's a way they log them. There's another term for it, but I guess for the live ratings, it's not a good slot to have a TV show.
I feel like you're about to see a lot more emphasis thrown towards SmackDown than WWE has even tried to throw its way since the first brand split when Paul Heyman's running SmackDown and making it better than Raw. That being said, speaking of Raw, we got Raw kicked off with Seth Rollins coming out announcing that he's taking on the Fiend Bray Wyatt inside Hell in a Cell in 3 weeks. And then there was also a Raw women's title match announced for inside Hell in a Cell. But I want to focus on the Universal Championship match. Joe, we just talked about how Braun was made to look foolish, fighting for it 6 times and losing 6 times. Yes, Bray Wyatt has been a WWE champion, has held the top title in the company. But with all of this flair, all of this fanfare, the aura that you have with the Fiend right now, how you get it. We know that you are like, fuck tickle butt, this shit's stupid. But at the same time, you've been kind of in on the Fiend, not like sold as in this is going to be the greatest fucking thing in the world, but he doesn't win at Hell in a Cell. Doesn't matter how he doesn't win. He doesn't win at Hell in a Cell. Did you just shoot that character in the head?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's as much. I mean, obviously, and I'm no pun intended with AEW, wins and losses matter.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with that character can lose, but as long as he's still demented, psychotic, and extremely scary, and he's constantly tormenting people, he'll still hold value.
But main event value?
Yeah. Because it's always the what if factor with him, especially the way they've been threading him through the shows lately. Like he could just come out, like nobody's safe when the Fiend is around. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you can have that element whether he wins or loses.
Nick, do you feel the character is shot in the head, shot dead, if he does not win the Universal Championship?
No, I would agree with Joe. I think that, if you had him submit to Seth Rollins on some level and it kind of makes him look weak, I think there's that factor that plays into it, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't see the Fiend submitting to anybody.
Right. So that would be the only way. And again, like you just said, I don't think that's going to happen.
Not just because he's so badass, but he's so crazy that maybe like the pain just doesn't register. He would find it funny or something, you know?
Right. Well, so with that, I don't think you can. I don't think he'll lose any steam. You're not shooting him in the head, even if he loses to Seth clean 1, 2, 3, and we move on from there. He's going to be around for a long time, and the way that they're implementing him in these shows, and it's kind of like Novocaine. They're not cramming him down your throat, but it's slow and steady, and I don't think that they're going to do wrong with him by any means right now.
I'm in the exact opposite boat of you guys. I feel like with this push, with this momentum that he has, the problem with him losing is then you piss fans off again. And the fans want him where he is. The fans want to see him get that belt. And if you do that again, if you take it away from him, everything that it just brings up bad memories. Bray Wyatt everyone wanted Bray way back in the day. They wanted him against Undertaker to beat the streak, and he didn't. And they wanted him against John Cena to beat the belt, to take the title, and he didn't. And it's just so much more bad memories that you're bringing out that if he does not win the Universal Championship at Hell in a Cell, I think you shot Bray Wyatt in the head. Not just the character, not the fucking gimmick. I think you just shot your wrestler in the head, and nobody is going to believe you will ever give him any type of real momentum, because while he did win the WWE Championship, it was kind of a fucking...
It was a short, forgettable, lackluster run.
Right, and you only know he did it because they talk about that he won it. You know, you don't... he beat Randy Orton for it? That's what I'm saying.
It was a very short run and meaningless.
Something that you literally have to go, how did he win it? How did he lose it? This is something that is hot, super hot with the fans. And if you kill that, if you don't give him the win, outside of him forcing himself not to win, as in he just leaves the cage instead of taking us down, they do some sort of supernatural whatever thing. Even that, no, there's no way he can lose this match at Hell in a Cell. He has to become the Universal Championship. Otherwise, I think you alienate enough of the fan base that you just hurt the gimmick.
I think he will. I still don't think it would kill him, but you never fucking know with this company, dude. You never know. Especially
with what you're taking on a company that is talking about being for the fans, and you're taking the hottest thing the fans have right now away from them. The fucking first pay-per-view after their debut show, you kind of, I feel like you just lost everything you built with that, Moving on, Becky and Sasha Banks inside Hell in a Cell. Sasha cut a promo saying, Becky, I want you at Hell in a Cell for the Raw Women's Championship. Becky then comes back and cuts a promo saying, I don't want to face you at Hell in a Cell. I want to destroy you inside Hell in a Cell. And Sasha's been in a Hell in a Cell match against Charlotte Flair once.
Got destroyed.
Yeah. Is this Sasha's redemption, Z?
Yeah. I think it is. I mean, the issue was her not being in the spotlight was her issue, to make a long story really short. So I think this is it, because just like Kofi, I think it's time that Becky loses the belt. I'm not saying she has to lose it for a long time, but I think she eventually has to drop it, because even her run is getting a little boring. So if you give her a new arch nemesis that isn't Charlotte Flair, then you have something to go with for another 6 months.
I think Becky's dropping it quickly, and then Becky's getting drafted to SmackDown and fighting Bayley for that title. And Charlotte's moving to Raw with this draft. I think that's how you pull her out of it. That's how, if you're not going to draft champions, and champions are going to be stuck to where they are, and you're going to hold, because again, we're speculating. But if the speculation comes up, you're this brand's champion, you're staying on that brand, you're not leaving. If Sasha wins at Hell in a Cell, and then the next Friday is the draft start, and Sasha's your Raw champion, if you're not drafting champions, Becky can go to SmackDown. Hell, every fucking SmackDown fucking promo, music
with no belt,
with Fox. Yeah. You know, we were talking about that last week. So
yeah, because they wanted Becky, they wanted Brock, they wanted The Undertaker. They had a list of demands of they wanted Roman Reigns. Like, Roman Reigns probably going to be on SmackDown because that's what Fox wants. But at what point does like USA get a say in like who they get, or do they not?
They don't.
Do they just get the leftovers?
You know,
they get NXT and what's left of Raw.
That's what I was saying when you stepped away.
Yeah,
SmackDown is now that's fine. SmackDown.
Donuts hit me hard, dude.
That's cool. SmackDown is your number one brand now. SmackDown is your network television. SmackDown,
which has got to be driving Vince insane.
No, not for the money he's making, not for the stock.
But still, Raw's his baby, and he's always made it known that even when SmackDown was beating them in the ratings, Raw was still his number one show.
Doesn't change. It's gone now. Now that fucking HD antenna gets you SmackDown.
It's gonna be Friday Night Raw and Monday Night SmackDown.
That's a Friday night. Okay.
SmackDown's gonna turn red all of a sudden.
I just can't have this. My brain's gonna explode. I do like the Bray Wyatt promos with the little devil McMahon, and he just feeds him money and he goes away.
That is great, dude.
But I'm making all this money.
All right, so back to this. Nick, is it finally is it Sasha's time?
I think it kind of goes back to what you were talking about with Bray and shooting somebody in the head. I think you would shoot Sasha in the head if you had all this build up, her coming back and
right in her blue fucking head,
right in that fucking wig, man, just pop. So now, if she does win the title, then you go into her being on Raw, and is she going to lose it again? Because again, she's never defended this title that she's ever had once. She's had 4 championships, never defended it once. So yeah, I think it's time to put her in that.
Is that true?
Yeah,
successfully.
She's never successfully defended it.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. I thought you meant never defended. I'm like,
no, a title she's ever had. She's never successfully defended it.
Right? No. I know.
Women's championship.
I know that. No, but it made it sound like she had to forfeit the title.
No.
Oh no.
But yeah, I think she's got to go over, win the title. Otherwise,
and then have a good run with it.
But then, does she have to dye her hair red? She's gonna look really dumb with blue hair and a red belt.
Well, look, man, Bloods and Crips are making it work.
Purple.
Couple months.
Purple. Give her the cruiserweight title.
Joe, does the Raw belt lose relevance if Becky just goes to SmackDown and never tries to fight for it again, at least within these first couple months? Or is Sasha strong enough to carry it and keep it relevant to where Becky had it a month ago and then 3 months before that?
You're saying if Becky loses it to Sasha and then goes to SmackDown and then doesn't get a rematch before she goes to SmackDown, does the Raw belt lose relevance? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on what they allow Sasha to do with it or what Sasha does with it, but I don't think that's just a a death sentence in its own.
Oh, I'm not saying a death sentence. I'm talking about, like, we all say that the title doesn't make the person makes the title, right?
I think
And-
Sasha has a star power to carry that title.
Okay. Yeah. I would love to see it. I think Sasha does deserve to be given all the credibility. I think she finally deserves to be given the ability to defend a championship at least fucking once, man.
She's one of the top girls in that company. I think she's been there for a long time. She's done it. We've seen her in great matches over the years. I don't know why they haven't booked her to defend her title successfully at least once.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not part of the writing team. I don't know that.
Because they were booking Charlotte to win it 9 times.
Okay, there you go. But yeah, I mean, that being said, she's still an established star, still an established champion, still an established top of the card women's division wrestler. So I think as long as they don't get silly with it, which we all know they can do.
Is that like getting jiggy with it?
Right, it is. That she can be a credible champ and it won't lose any clout or steam.
Z, you were about to say something?
I had a thought, but I quickly realized my thought was done.
Because Becky's run has lost some steam itself.
Some semen? It's lost some semen?
You know, Seth has in her. But that's another story for another day. But yeah,
Seth likes to come in the man.
Her title run has I bet the man likes to come in him. We all know who wears the pants in that family.
Okay. So
it's not Seth Rollins, by the way.
Right.
In case you were wondering, it's not him.
Speaking of the pants in the family, and this will be our final topic before we sign off. We got a returning superstar on Monday Night Raw, and he's the real father of Maria Kanellis' baby, Rusev Machka. The married Rusev is apparently the father of Maria Kanellis' baby, to the point where even fucking Michael Cole said not 2 seconds conspicuously absent is his wife, Lana. Happy Rusev is back, but pissed he's putting where he is? Or do we just kind of wish this would all go away? Z, I'll start with you.
What do you mean by all go away? As far as
we don't want any more Maria, Mike Kanellis, any type of thing, even if it brings Rusev back.
I don't see that. It's one of those storylines that it's kind of entertaining to follow. I mean, it got a little ridiculous this week.
It's car crash entertaining a little bit.
Yeah, because you're like, all right, this is kind of funny. All right, they're clearly burying Mike Kanellis, but he's on TV, so is it really a burial? But
yeah,
yes, it's really a burial. But no, who did he fight?
He fought
Ricochet.
She first said Ricochet.
Yeah,
was the baby
that's what it
daddy.
was. And then Ricochet beat him, and then Rusev came out and destroyed him.
Much good.
I don't know, man. I mean, if I don't see it, I won't be upset. But if it continues, I mean, I don't mind it.
Kind of like the Undertaker's career.
Yeah, kind of. Like, I don't mind seeing him, but if he doesn't ever, my thought with the Undertaker though is it's not really over until he gets put away in a casket for the final time. But anyways, so with Maria and Mike,
Whole other show.
Obviously she's ready to pop because she got significantly bigger since the last time she's been on TV. So I mean, after she has the kid, they'll come back. It'll look like Rusev. That could be entertaining.
They put a little mustache on the baby.
right, like little baby Rusev. Like that could be entertaining.
Basically,
You just matchked your diaper.
Now is like Lana gonna fight a pregnant woman?
I don't know. Joe, what do you think? You wish the Maria Mike Kanellis story would go away, or are you happy that at least got Rusev back on TV?
I mean, I don't really care, honestly. I think it makes Maria look great. She's been $1 million throughout this whole thing, but what it does for Mike Bennett's career,
His name's Mike Kanellis.
yeah, he's fucked. Like, I don't see him having any kind of credible future after this shit, really.
Side note: Rusev looked good,
And then
Rusev was jacked.
yeah, but Rusev's always an intimidating figure, though.
yeah. I
no,
was
but
like-
now he's like cut. Like
Yeah,
before he was
motherfucker.
just big. Now he's fucking.
That's great. That's great. That doesn't matter. All that matters is how they book him, and they have booked him like shit for years. So to me, this is just more
You're gonna see a leaked video.
silly
of him and
Rusev
Paige.
booking that doesn't need to be done when they could have just booked this guy as a monster like they should have the
or
whole fucking time.
or kept the Rusev Day thing rolling because that was over as fuck.
Yeah, but he got that going on his own, so Vince hated it. So
Yeah, but he gave Maria Kanellis a Rusev night. What's up? Nick, how you feeling about this whole thing? Were you first off, okay, blow your mind that it was Rusev that was the real father?
No.
I wasn't expecting that.
No, I wasn't expecting it. I was just like, oh boy. Yeah, okay.
Oh, it's Rusev.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm with Joe. I don't really care. I mean, if it's there, cool. If it's not, that's cool too. They don't take up too much time with it.
But everything they've ever done with Rusev, they fucked up. So,
that does disappoint me a little bit because I do like Rusev.
This does not feel like Paul Heyman booking to me. I'm sorry, it just doesn't.
The original Baby Daddy storyline felt like Heyman, but you are
Where
right.
she was cutting him down. Yeah.
And then this,
But this is
this gender
this is
reveal,
silly.
Titus O'Neil, fucking
Yeah, this sounds like
screaming and-
this sounds like just typical WWE tickle.
It
butt.
reminded me of a food fight scene from a holiday.
Yeah. You're exactly right. Yep. Some stupid barbecue where someone gets a plate of food in the face.
Yeah.
EC3 holding the cup. Just
There you
go. So doesn't matter to anybody. Could go away tomorrow, and no one will ever be the fucking.
Rusev can shave his mustache tomorrow. That's for sure. He also needs to like lay off of the spray tan. 'Cause that was really bad. He was like bronzed.
Rusev mustachka. And then it's a gimmick.
But if you're gonna also though, if you're gonna bring him back like that, like he's clearly in better shape. He's going with the new shorter hair, more mustache. Why not? Why not change up the gimmick and the music a little bit? Like give him a new entrance of some sort, just to make it feel different.
I don't know. I don't write for the WWE. They could also do it down the line. I mean, they could do it next week. Let's be very honest. The first thing to get the notoriety, to get everyone recognizing it right away, the first thing you have to do is play his old fucking shit.
And what's the deal with Cesaro? Like I thought he was in.
I don't know, Jerry Seinfeld. What is the deal with Cesaro?
He came out to wrestle Rey Mysterio in street clothes.
No, but
Why
he
is
went to
that?
NXT UK, did he not? And now he's back, or what?
He went and showed up there. I don't know if he's going to be an NXT UK competitor. We'll have to find out.
Okay.
But that's
Stay
enough.
tuned.
That's enough for us. Next week, ladies and gentlemen, will be our final show on a Wednesday night at 9:15 p.m. We'll be moving to Sundays at 11 a.m. It'll be the day of the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, which you can watch with us at Buffalo Wild Wings in downtown Detroit. No cover. Come on in, touch some butts, beat some guts. Holler
Like
at some
Rusev
sluts.
did.
Yeah, Rusev Day. Thank you so much to everyone for listening. We really appreciate it. Again, if Sundays at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is a little off for you and you can't watch live or listen live, you can, of course, subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts. Overcast will take you to any of the podcasts as well. You go ahead and subscribe. Rate us 5 stars, please, and thank you, because we deserve it. We are what Meltzer used to define as the greatest rating ever. But currently, we're not Meltzer's greatest rating, so 5 stars fine, right? Yeah, we deserve 5 star. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. We are your ring crew.
Champion Joe.
Former fucking champion Nick.
Never champion Smitty.
People's champion, all Mikey won, Mikey himself, and we are out.